Data science, data analytics, artificial intelligence. I'm sure you've heard these terms thrown around, well, pretty much everywhere. And a lot of the time, people use them like they're the exact same thing. But are they? Not really, no. So today, we're going to cut through all that noise and show you exactly what makes each of these fields so unique. Let's dive in. All right, let's get right into the big question. What is the real difference between a data analyst, a data scientist, and an AI engineer? You've seen these job titles pop up everywhere, right? And you're probably thinking, what's the actual overlap here? It's a great question. And honestly, it can get pretty confusing. But don't worry, that's exactly what we're here to make crystal clear. Okay, so here's the absolute key to understanding this. While they all start with the same raw material, data, it's what they're trying to achieve with it that sets them apart. Think of it like this. You've got three different specialists, all looking at the same set of evidence, but each one is trying to solve a completely different kind of problem. Okay, let's really dig in and break down analytics versus science versus AI. We're going to see exactly how their goals head in different directions. First up, we've got data analytics. The easiest way to think about this is that it's all about looking backward. An analyst is kind of like a detective showing up at a crime scene that's already happened. They're sifting through all the evidence, the historical data, to figure out what went down, to answer questions like, what happened to our sales last quarter? Or, hey, why did our numbers dip in this specific region? It's all about getting immediate, useful insights out of what's already occurred. Now, let's talk data science. So if analytics is looking back, data science is all about looking forward. A data scientist takes all that historical info and uses it to build these incredible models that try to predict what's going to happen next. They're not just asking what happened, they're asking what is likely to happen. It's a much broader field, pulling in statistics, machine learning, and programming to forecast all sorts of things, from which customers might leave to what the demand for a product will be next year. And that brings us to the big one, artificial intelligence, or AI. This is really the most ambitious of the three. See, AI isn't just about understanding or predicting, it's about acting. AI engineers are the ones building systems that can do complex stuff all on their own, trying to mimic human intelligence. We're talking chatbots, self-driving cars, systems that can recognize images. The end goal here is simple: autonomy. And this table just lays it all out so perfectly, doesn't it? Just zero in on that primary goal row for a second. For analytics, it's about getting insights. For data science, it's about building models. And for AI, it's about building systems. The examples make it even clearer, right? You go from a simple sales report to a model that predicts churn, all the way to a chatbot that can talk to you on its own. You can literally see the evolution, from insight to prediction to action. Okay, so we've got the what down. That's a huge step. But to really get why these fields grew up to be so distinct, we've got to jump in our time machine and go back a bit. The origin story here is actually pretty fascinating. All right, let's do it. A brief history of data. This is where we'll see how these distinct fields really started to take shape. Believe it or not, this whole story kind of starts way back in 1962 with a brilliant mathematician named John W. Tukey. This guy was a total visionary. Long before anyone was talking about big data, he saw what was coming. He basically argued that computers were about to change the game for statistics, and he called for this new, totally separate science of data analysis. He was laying the foundation for everything that would follow. And this timeline really shows how things just exploded from there. You start in the 60s and 70s with these big foundational ideas. Then in the 90s, the field starts to get professional recognition. We see the term data scientist used for the first time. But the real game changer was between 2005 and 2015. This was the big data era. Tools like Apache Hadoop came out, and suddenly we could process just insane amounts of data. And then from 2015 to today came the big finale: AI integration. Deep learning had its breakthrough moments, and AI and data science officially came together, creating the wild, interconnected world we live in now. Okay, we've covered the what, we've covered the why. So for our last section, let's pull it all together and see how these pieces build on each other to form one big ecosystem. You know, for all their differences, these fields are actually super connected. They're like cousins. They all speak the same languages, like Python and R, and they use a shared toolkit of software. But most importantly, you have machine learning, which is really the bridge that connects everything. Data scientists use it to make predictions, and AI engineers use that very same technology to build systems that can learn and get smarter on their own. Okay, if you walk away with just one thing from all this, let it be this right here. It's the core philosophy. Data science is all about understanding.
using data to create insights for humans to use. Artificial intelligence is all about action, using data to build systems that can operate by themselves. That's it. Understanding versus automation.
And this just sums up the whole journey perfectly. It's a natural evolution, right? You start by analyzing the past, then you use that to predict the future, and finally, you build systems that can actually act in that future on their own. Past, future, action. Simple as that.
So this brings us to a final, really fascinating question to chew on. As these fields keep getting closer and closer, as they continue to merge, what will the data professional of tomorrow even look like? Will these separate roles eventually just blend into something totally new? That, right there, is the exciting frontier we're all heading towards. Definitely something to think about.